Hey, what's up? It's Todd, and today I want to talk to you about online dating, specifically why you don't get matches or why don't you get the matches that you deserve. Because if you're like most guys, that's the story. You either get matched with nobody or you get matched with girls you wouldn't consider sleeping with or dating under any circumstances whatsoever, and it just all feels like a big waste of time. And there are many very good reasons for that, but I want to talk about two of the biggest ones today that have to do directly with your profile. And yes, profiles matter. Photos matter a ton, especially on the swipe apps and whatnot, but the profile matters a lot too, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, what is it you're doing wrong in your profile? The most common thing that almost everybody does wrong, and anybody who knows anything about online dating will tell you this, is they don't get the girl's attention. Okay, so it's not just about getting attention, it's not just about getting a match, because the next stage is, what do I do after that? And a lot of guys, the guys who do get a few matches, they have the next problem, which is, what do I message them? The conversation keeps going dead, there's nothing to talk about. So I want your profile to do the heavy lifting, not only in getting you the matches, but also in making your messaging easier. And that's what we're gonna talk about right now with an example profile that I created. Little bit of a backstory for this profile and for me in online dating. So I've been doing online dating off and on in various forms since about year 2000. A second girl I ever slept with in my life, I actually met online. So I've done it for a long time. I've slept with hundreds of girls from online. So I have a lot of experience in that area. It's not something I've done as much recently because I'm a bit of a victim of my own success in a way, which is that if you get really, really good at cold approach, you can walk right up to a beautiful girl in any setting. You don't feel a lot of motivation to go and do online dating necessarily, but online dating is something that has been an amazing source of success for me in a lot of ways. I've met a lot of incredible girls from there, etc. So it is something I do highly endorse and something I do have a lot of practice with. Anyway, with a lot of dating moving online recently, and a lot of my clients are coming to me and saying, hey, I need advice with my profile, I need advice with my messaging, I've decided to start really testing and really getting this to into year 2020 and making it honed to perfection. So what I've done is I've created sample profiles on a bunch of different dating sites. And this is one of those sample profiles. This is actually a first draft. And you don't want to be using first drafts generally in online dating. Most people, when they put a first draft out, they get no matches and no results whatsoever. Obviously, because I've been doing this for a long time, I can actually get away with just putting out a first draft and get a lot of really good results. But I do want to point out that that's not the optimal way. What I should do and what I will continue to do is hone this, make it better, improve it, etc. So this is a first draft, but I want you to see a couple specific things. I want you to see, one, that it is getting results as a draft, but I also want you to see the types of results it's getting, the types of messaging I'm getting, and why that is the case based on this profile. So let's look at the profile. All right, so I want to introduce you to Douglas. Douglas is my alter ego because I'm a little too famous and searchable, and I don't really want to put that out for online dating for a lot of reasons, especially on test profiles. So here we have Douglas, and let's look at the start of his profile, and this is what I call the hook, the part of the profile that's designed to get the girl's attention, and it's designed to set the frame of who you're going to be throughout the rest of the profile. So let's just look at the first few lines. This is your last chance. Get out while you still can. Don't say I didn't warn you. Seriously, I'm bad news. Please do yourself a favor and pick a nice, responsible accountant your mother would approve of. Okay, so that's the part I want to look at, just those lines right there. And what am I doing? I'm doing literally the opposite of what almost every guy does. Almost every guy's like, you'll like me, I'm nice, or here are all my accolades, here's me trying to impress you. What am I doing? I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm actually pushing her away, saying she should leave, saying don't match with me, right? Which, people have this natural contrarian kind of urge to do what they're told not to do. That's part of it. But the other thing is, look at what type of guy is abundant enough, what type of guy is getting enough matches online that he can tell girls not to match with him. It sort of subtly conveys a lot of high value. So that's one of the more obvious things it's doing. But it's also a very good hook. It gives you something to talk about. It gives you something to message about. It gives you a little bit of a narrative of the discussion that's already existed by the time she matches with you or by the time you message her, by the time she's read your profile and responded to it in some way. There is an existing narrative. I've already created a story of sorts, a start of a story at least, before I've ever messaged her. And what I'm going to do is not only am I going to get matches because this is intriguing, and it is a little cheesy, right? If you've seen the those ads on YouTube maybe or in television commercials says, warning, don't get this product unless you're willing to make millions of dollars, right? It's kind of it's a little bit cheesy, but it works. The reason you see those is because it works. This is a little bit less cheesy than those, but it is a little cheesy potentially. But again, it works. So that's the profile itself. That's why it gets attention. Let's look at the message I now use with it though, and how the responses kind of follow and how the dialogue follows from there. So I'm going to take one specific example all the way through, and then I'm going to show you some other examples of this occurring as well. So let's look at the first example. So here's my message. I just kind of mass messaged this to a lot of different girls. It says, glad to see my attempts to scare you away were unsuccessful. I guess you're more confident than average. So what am I doing here? I'm pointing out that I tried to push her away. I'm hammering home that point. I'm hammering home the point that she matched with me or liked me or looked at my profile and whatever, in spite of the fact that I told her not to. Right? And so what's the frame? The frame is she's chasing me. The frame is I'm not chasing her. I'm already framing the opposite of the typical interaction. But I'm also, again, mentioning this previous interaction we've had. The previous interaction that I tried to scare her away and didn't work, right? So it's almost like we're jumping in mid-conversation from a previous interaction. It gives us so much more to talk about. And you can see by her responses, she's going to go into that frame and go with it and give a lot more to talk about. So her response is, and why were you attempting to scare away such wonderful women, LOL? And then she double texts, how was your weekend? So she's bought in, she's intrigued, she wants to talk, she's chasing and she's accepting this frame. And the fact that she's chasing already, the fact that she's responding to my frame, the fact that she's already going along with this idea that I tried to push her away and she's chasing me, it's going to make the rest of the messaging easier. So if you look at her follow-up messages, they are, I'd give her an A+, qualifying herself, and then double texting again, tell me about Douglas. Does his easy boredom translate to women, i.e., am I good enough for you? Will I bore you? She's a little insecure about that. And then next message, I could be tempted with an emoticon, and then gives her phone number, right? So pretty smooth transition, pretty clear, direct path towards, she likes me, let's go ahead, phone number, right? And it's all kind of in this theme of her chasing, all in the theme that I tried to push her away and she's winning me over, she's qualifying herself, she's justifying herself. So that thread that I started in the profile is continuing throughout all the messages. And that's not a unique occurrence. Let's look at some of the other responses that I've gotten from other girls, and we're going to see a similar pattern in the responses they're giving me to that same first message. So here her response is, haha, funny, then double text, well, you are kind of cute, so def, I'm not scared. And then she says, curious. So she actually triple texts, compliments me, says she's not scared, goes with my frame, kind of like says, no, we will get along, etc. That's a great place to be starting after just one messaging conversation. Girl's clearly chasing. It's clearly in a good position to go very, very well from there. Let's look at another one. Big smiley face, I'm not easily scared. So again, you see really positive response, obviously going with the frame, obviously a good start to the conversation. Next example, a bit longer. LOL, good evening. Perhaps now you should be the one who is scared, trying to make a joke back, etc. And then she follows up, how have you been handling the lockdown situation? Seems not going anywhere is definitely not your style. So she's clearly read the rest of my profile. She's getting an impression about me. I have some stuff about traveling and those kind of things in other parts of my profile. So she's definitely, again, buying into the frame, buying into this narrative I've created around myself. I've created a narrative around who I am. I've also created a narrative around our budding relationship, and they're going to go with those narratives the vast majority of the times, which makes your job so much more easy. So again, to recap, what do you want to be doing in your online profile? Well, number one, you need to get attention. You need to get viewed, right? It's like an ad. If you don't click on the ad, it doesn't matter what's following on, you have to get that first click. So being a little shocking, being a little bit polarizing, standing out in some way is going to matter. A lot of guys have profiles that essentially just look the same as every other guy, right? If you say, I work hard, but I also play hard. My mom says I'm this, that, and the other. I have this degree, that degree, and this accomplishment. You're just going to look like every other guy, right? You want to avoid that at all costs. So number one, stand out, get the attention. But number two, and this is the big point of this particular video, stand out in a way that creates a narrative. Stand out in a way that tells a story, and it creates a frame that you can continue throughout the messaging. Create a messaging sequence that's going to be to your advantage right away from the profile. Right? You want your profile to do the heavy lifting. You want your messaging to be super, super easy because you're going to be, if your profile is good, messaging a lot of girls, and you don't want to have to be thinking and considering and doing difficult texting situations over and over again. You'd rather have a simple, routine, almost copy-paste sequence that gets you to the number and gets you to the date. So that's what we're really trying to do with our profiles. All right. Hopefully you like this content. There's going to be a lot more online dating content coming your way. Like I said, I'm creating profiles on the major dating sites. This one happens to be Match.com. I'm also doing OkCupid, Bumble, Hinge, and Tinder. So you'll be seeing more from me in that area, I'm sure, over the coming weeks and months. If you have questions about online, obviously, put them in the comments. Maybe I can address some of them. And definitely this is an area we will be working on a lot more. I'm also doing a lot of coaching, as I mentioned, for online and profiles and photos and that kind of stuff. So if that's something of interest to you, hit me up in that regard as well. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.